Meanwhile, clearing operations continued today in Marawi with Maute Group remnants still holed up in a few areas of the war-torn city. Advancing government forces are also recovering more cadavers believed to be victims of terrorist atrocities. Julius de Samburon has this report.
Today marks the 37th day of the Marawi siege. This is also the day when the joint military, police, LGU, civilian volunteers, and the Bureau of Fire Protection discovered and recovered 17 cadavers from different areas of Barangay Gadungan, Marawi City, which is classified as a conflict zone. Authorities believe that they were civilians brutally killed by the terrorist group Maute.
Philippine National Police SOCO is undertaking procedures to identify the bodies for proper disposition and identification of the cadavers, so that their relatives can claim them and provide them a decent burial. Retrieval operations are being conducted in Barangay Gadungan and some areas which the local terrorists previously held and where some civilians were believed to be murdered by terrorists.
Based on the pictures, the cadavers were already exhibiting an advanced stage of decomposition. The dead bodies have been brought to Iligan City for police investigation.
Napakadelikado po ito. Talagang risk, okay? Risk of life po yung mag-conduct ng retrieval operations. And we are very much grateful sa ating mga volunteers na despite the risk, okay? Pero andito sila to help us retrieve the bodies.
JTF Marawi explained that once an area is cleared of terrorists, the military will then launch clearing and retrieval operations. As of today, firefight and bomb explosion are still continuously heard in the ground zero in line with the soldiers' mission to liberate Marawi from the Maute. Interior and local government officer in charge Catalino Coy personally visited Marawi to monitor the situation at the front lines. He also pointed out that the Duterte administration will extend help for the city's recovery.
Ang concern natin yung rehabilitation ng city, particularly para sa amin yung mga government buildings na nasira, mga naapektuhan. Ipa-prioritize natin yan. Pati na rin yung kanina may mga concern na na-present yung local government sa problema nila sa mga evacuees nila na karamihan ay nasa Iligan. So ipaparating natin yan sa concerned agency.
The Crisis Management Committee said that the visit gave a morale boost to the government troops and LGUs. The Crisis Committee also underscored the big role of the local government and the public to end acts of extremism and terrorism.
Pinag-usapan talaga dito is yung paano natin i-explore yung initial plan, initial proposal ng ating mga mayors na magkaroon sila ng civilian defense security plan. May strengthen ito. Meron na tayong BPAT, meron na tayong CAFGU. It's only a matter of how and when do we mobilize them as a counter action against the threat of radicalization, the threat of extremism, and the threat of terrorism.
Kabayan Party List Representative Harry Roque also visited Marawi. He laid out the provisions of his bill filed at the lower house for a supplemental budget or a 10 billion peso fund for the rehabilitation of Marawi. The Tindig Marawi Act recognizes the sacrifices and the strength of residents. The Solon also tackled House Bill 222, or an act protecting the rights of internally displaced persons or IDPs and penalizing the acts of arbitrary internal displacement. Some of the provisions included in this act are the one-stop shop for the IDPs and their human rights protection.
Yung ginagawa nilang human shield ng sibilyan, yung pangingidnap ng sibilyan, yung pang-aalila sa sibilyan, lahat po yan ay labag dun sa international humanitarian law, at ito po'y hindi lang isang tratado, ito po'y ginawa ng batas dito sa ating bayan.
Also covered in this proposal is the compensation for the IDPs whose loved ones have died or are missing and lost their properties. JTF Marawi added that the proper coordination is constantly being done with the troops in the front lines for confirmation, validation, and updating. For the Nation, Julius de Samburon, Islamic City of Marawi, Lanao del Sur.